Next up, we have one of my favorite players in the draft in Moro, Ojomo, the defensive tackle out of Texas. And for a litany of reasons, I'll be honest with you guys up front, I really like this kid, and I think he's been severely underrated by the national media. So what are some of the reasons I like him? First and foremost, you might think I have a typo on this sort of intangible sheet as you look at his age and his class, right? It looks like off the bat there's a discrepancy there. Well, there's not, in fact. He's a guy that enrolled at the University of Texas when he was 16 years old. So when you talk about, a trial by fire, I mean, he grew up in a college weight room, which is just radical to think about. And we'll see it here as we get into the film. I think I think some of it's clearly evident, right? You see the reps on bench. I mean, 29. I didn't even think he played that strong, but it's there. Good testing measurables. The size is a little bit on the smaller side, more of a 3-tech than anything else, but very interesting there. And you see it here. He was playing games as a 17-year-old. Not a ton of statistical production, but year over year got better. And is still one of the youngest prospects in the draft with 5 years of college experience. Very, very interesting from Ojomo in that regard. As far as some of them, the explosiveness and quickness. He can beat you to the spot now as an offensive lineman. No questions asked. He's just one of the quicker guys as far as the first step is concerned, the burst is concerned. I don't think the 40 time necessarily did him justice in that regard, but the jump off the ball is there. You try and reach him, he slices around it. You try and double team him, sometimes he can just burst between it, right? Just very impressive. His anchor and ability to his anchor and strength, I should say, at the point of attack, I thought was solid. Again, for a guy that's 290 pounds, I felt like he held up better than many of his peers. We were talking a couple videos ago about Kalijah Cansey being 280, and I gave him like a 10 out of 20 here, right? Well, Ojomo's only 8 pounds heavier than him, and I think he held up certainly a lot better. And there's some, a couple reasons for that as far as the leverage is concerned, the motor is concerned. We'll touch on those a little bit later, but just very impressive against, guys both as a run defender, but also a pass rusher. This was really where I thought he shined, and I don't think the stat totals again really did him justice. Just to see the hand usage, the understanding of pass rushing, the art form as far as playing the chess game, right? Varying up his moves and changing things up rep to rep, but very impactful with his hands, impressive with his burst, and just very solid in both phases. I felt block shedding was a little bit less of a positive, but it was still there, right? As you can kind of see, I think Ojomo is very well balanced across the board. Lots of grades where I'm giving him 6s and 7s out of 10s and 15s out of 20s, and just very solid grades for a guy that I imagine if your team just drafted him that you probably haven't heard too much about through this process. So very impressed with his hand usage, his block shedding, things of that nature, just solid. The finishing and tackling, again, I thought he was very impressive here. It felt like anytime he got hands on you, he was bringing you down. For the most part, of course, there are going to be some missed tackles every now and then just naturally, but it felt like there were never really plays that he was quitting on. He was, always a threat to bring you down if he was close, right? And whether it's Superman jumping over a guy to bring you down for the sack, or, that's sort of the negative side of things that I mentioned there, but he's just releasing pressure, trying to make a play, and he isn't able to, and it looks worse than it actually is. As far as motor's concerned, again, I mentioned it, very hard-working guy. We have quite a few clips here just of him making plays that a lot of guys have quit on 3 times by the time he's there, right? I give him an 8.75 out of 10 on motor, one of the highest grades I've given anybody in the class. And when it comes to, I should say, counter moves and counters and just continuing to work through the entirety of the rep, I really thought that was where Ojomo shined. You look at him here from the backside chasing a running back down at the 4-yard line. just radical. You know, you look at him here again. He's the opposite defensive tackle, and he's making plays on running backs on the total other side of the play. Very impressive. And I thought the block rec was great as well. 4 out of 5 here. Just seemed like he was very well coached up at Texas. And that was consistent with Coburn as well. Big number 99. You see, like, oh, that's a lucky play. Well, the fact that he knew that, hey, they're blocking me this way, I need to work out that way. I think that understanding is there, right? Hey, I need to fight pressure with pressure. They're trying to, reach me. What do I have to do? I have to work across his face. They're trying to down block me. What do I have to do? The ball's going off of them. I have to work outside of them, right? There's just that sort of running, almost Rolodex of answers, it felt like, from Ojomo, as far as the hands were concerned, as far as the movement was concerned, as far as really everything was concerned. And that's why, as you guys will see here momentarily, I have him as a second round grade. And I don't really have any questions about it either, right? A couple of these prospects I've done videos on, I kind of talk about the red flags and how, I'm only evaluating the film and this, that, and the other. Well, I don't see red flags with Ojomo's game. On the field or off the field. I think he's a solid prospect. Everything I've seen suggests he's, a great guy to have in your room. And ultimately, yeah, he's tied for my 4th highest defensive tackle on the board. And honestly, even though I have him graded lower than, say, a guy like Kalijah Cansey, just slightly, very slightly, if you told me you were going to take Kalijah at pick 20 or Ojomo at pick 50, it's not a question. I'd rather have Moro Ojomo. No doubt about it either. Not the same level of athleticism, but not going to get put on the dirt and pancaked either, because he's balanced in terms of his approach to the game and is able to hold up against the run while also make plays against the pass as well. And in that regard, just a very solid player. Someone that I don't expect, frankly, to go in the second round based on the discussion I've heard about him. I'm not even sure if they said his name during the combine coverage, for example. They got all these D linemen there. He's having a decent little day for himself, and I don't even know if I heard them say his name out loud. So who knows where teams are at on him. I've seen him in the 4th and 5th round on some big boards. If I'm not mistaken, Pro Football Focus has him in the 3rd. Well, I'm higher than that. I would take Moro. If I was the general manager, I'd have no problem taking him in the 2nd round. But hey, if I get the sense that other teams are much lower on him, I might be able to wait till that 3rd and get a great value pick, right? Imagine getting Moro Ojomo and just some of those plays I showed you guys there in the 4th round. I think we have someone that people are looking at as just a run-of-the-mill rotational guy, but I think could fill in as a starter and be a positive one at that. No question, on the interior for almost any team. You saw him playing a variety of roles there. Texas used him off the edge occasionally. They'd use him inside, not necessarily as a nose or a 1 technique, because they did have guys like Coburn there, but whether it was a 3 technique, a 4 technique, he kind of do it all and has the athleticism to move up and down that defensive front. So hey, if it's a sub package where it's 3rd and long and you want to move some of your defensive tackles off the field and get some quicker guys on, I think he's someone who could slide in and be a capable 1 technique against some draws and things like that while you get more outside linebackers and whatnot on the field. I don't know, just a very solid player, someone who I can't say enough good things about, and I hope he's a guy that I do hope he's a guy that gets selected earlier than the national media is talking about, just because I feel like he does deserve that recognition just based on what he put on tape. So in that regard, if you enjoyed this video and think I deserve some recognition, you can always do so with that like button, with that subscribe button, things of that nature, all that fun YouTube stuff to show your support. And if you haven't checked out the channel for potential other prospects that your team might have drafted, I'm sure there are some. And if there's not, some might be coming, right? You could always drop in the comment section, hey, I didn't see a video for player X, right? I don't even know who it is. I didn't do very many, say, quarterbacks this year. What did you think of Aiden O'Connell, right? If you want to know, I could do something after the draft for you guys, right? So just let me know down below, things of that nature, and we'll cross that road when we get there. With that said, that's all I have for you guys in this one. I'm Mic'd Up Now, Mic'ing Out. Peace, guys. Have a good day.